All right, it's the Project Gameday postgame show. The Ravens season comes to an end with a 26-24 loss to the Steelers. They finished the season 8-9. The Steelers win the AFC North, and the Ravens will not be playing moving forward. And the Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org. If your loved one has a gambling problem, give them a call or a text or visit that website for free confidential services. Not everybody is on yet, and we'll see as everybody trickles on. I want to make something abundantly clear. If you are coming here because you think that like I'm gonna take some sort of weird schadenfreude joy in the fact that Tyler Loop missed a kick with the season on the line, you're gonna be disappointed. I have no joy in this. That's for weirdos on Twitter. You all are weird. I do observations. The observation has been that Tyler Loop hasn't been an NFL kicker this season. I'm still stunned, admittedly. I mean, I am. I can't believe there's a lot here because we're gonna not be talking about the defense and we're gonna have to talk about the defense. But just on that, I cannot believe the Ravens didn't try to get more forward yards with another timeout still available to them. I cannot believe that they simply decided that a kicker that has never made a kick in his life that mattered was good just because they were in reasonable field goal range. Now, it doesn't excuse him at all. It's I don't I cannot fathom this guy missing. Now, to be fair, Chris Boswell missed an extra point that could have cost the Steelers their season. But I am stunned that the Ravens just decided that they were good despite the fact that their kicker has never made a kick of any consequence in his life. It is stunning to me, and it is going to go on my pile of why there absolutely has to be serious change. With that said, I will open up the conversation. Ken Zales, you can be up first.
I think you said that almost. In fact, you did say it perfectly. Um, with two timeouts left and 14 seconds,
They didn't
why
have
not?
two. They only had one because they had to use the one
Oh, they
after the
used the one,
completion to
but
Likely.
why just move back 2 yards or whatever they lost on the kneel down? Why not go forward? Um, I he hadn't made it. He hadn't had to make a pressure kick all year, and some of that falls onto this coaching staff never putting him in that situation all year. But uh, rookie kickers make missed kicks, and it sucks. And I was ready to come on here and kind of say, for the guys that we killed, in Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely, for
Yep.
them to come up so huge in this game, the catch by Likely as pressure a catch. It's not, they made it seem like on the broadcast like that's an easy catch and throw with a defender bearing down on you. That's a ridiculous catch in that situation for those two to um, step up in big situations for all the chatter that many people have had to endure the ridiculousness about, you know, should Tyler Huntley play and should Lamar be traded? And shut up. Lamar did everything he was supposed to do in that second half, being the quarterback that he is. He played great in the second half. I mean, there were some things that in the first half maybe you didn't love, but they were being a little conservative. But when Derrick Henry's running for over 100 yards in the first half, who's to blame? Who's to argue? And then we get to the defense. It's what we've talked about all year. There's no pass rush. They had no answers for the quick passing game and didn't try to do anything different. Um, Marlon
And they didn't
Humphrey.
tackle. And that's that they
Then they
didn't
well
tackle.
they can't
They
they
had
didn't
plenty of
tackle and
opportunities to make plays. As bad as I think the play calling was, they had plenty of opportunities to make
they did
plays
they
and
didn't
they
tackle, but
didn't
and
tackle.
there's zero pass rush.
Yes,
And
no doubt about
they
that.
gave up 26 points to a team that couldn't move the ball last week. And I know Cleveland's a better defense than the Ravens, but they had nothing, and they had nothing in the first half. So,
That's all accurate. All accurate. Andrew
you know,
Stecca, you're up next.
I feel like they lost this game for a lot of the exact reasons that we complained that they were losing games all season. It was, as you guys said, the lack of a pass rush. It was problems on the offensive line. It was key injuries at very key moments. To be frank, I thought the defense just completely fell apart after Kyle Hamilton went off the field. Um, which is going to happen when he's your best player in that
Yep.
spot. Unfortunate that it went down that way. But they lost for all the same reasons. And to me, the biggest one, and I don't know how much of the blame pie this gets, but it's the coaching. I mean, that last drive was an abomination, and I get that the players on the field need to take a little bit of responsibility for that too. But I felt like they were wasteful with that last drive, and even having to leave it to a fourth down conversion and an unlikely, well, pardon the pun, an unlikely likely catch. I thought it was mismanaged for the most part from a coaching standpoint once again, which is again, as you say, going to go on the pile of reasons for needed change.
Tyus Bowser, former Ravens linebacker, who I thought I saw. Were you wearing Ravens gear out tonight? It's wherever you are, there's not a lot of light, so it's hard for me to see.
Yeah, I'm back in the car. I was just out with one of my guys watching it, and a lot of energy. So I'm over here trying to like calm myself down right now.
Mm,
But yeah, I got on the Ray Lewis jersey right now. I was trying to represent for the
man,
boys tonight.
man.
But oh my gosh, I
This is
mean,
worse than how they let down Rita. They're letting down you when you're wearing the Ray Lewis jersey out in public tonight.
and when I tell you, like everybody's like, "Dog, you got on that jersey, man. You got that guy." I think they're gonna pull it off just because I was like, feel it, man. I mean, I thought them guys was gonna pull it off. The Isaiah likely catch was phenomenal. That was probably one of the toughest catches that I've seen, along with the throw. And I mean, to end it like that, I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, like you can't ask for the worst way to end a season, especially how hard you've worked to try to put yourself in that position and things like working out in your way. And for it to happen like that, it's rough to see that. But yeah, I mean, like what a lot of the guys said today. I mean, you talk about the defense, you talk about giving up big plays at the end of the game that's not needed, and a lot of that is coaching. A lot of that is just technique. I mean, guys was getting beat on certain type of routes and certain type of plays, and when you're in a game like this where it's do or die, you got to be at your best. And I mean, for it to go like that, man, it's tough to see. It's really tough to see.
Rita Hubbard.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, look at you. Rita's been released. She's been released. She doesn't
I
have
have
to think about it.
exorcised the
Yeah, she
demon.
doesn't have to think about it anymore.
First of all, great game. Fun to watch. If you don't have a dog in the fight, you were wildly entertained, particularly in the second half. So shout out to both teams, obviously, for giving us a great game. Sorry if my voice goes in and out. Had a watch party, so there's that. Yeah, I'm with Tyus, like, technique, coaching, but also like tackling was very poor throughout this game. And I think that that's something to say for that. We all knew that the running backs was going to play a big part of it. And, well, I knew it. I don't know if they did, but I knew that that's what was going to be the case. That's what I've watched from the Steelers this year, right? So I'm very confused as to why I felt like there wasn't more focus on that. But I thought about Glenn immediately, and I was like, well, Glenn got his answer about Tyler Lube. So, listen,
I
y'all.
said,
You said the same thing, Tyus.
Hey, man, I gotta tell you, this
I was like,
because
oh my.
I'm not an internet weirdo. I hate how my mentions are getting blown up right now. I hate that. I
Like in a
am
bad way or a good way?
no in the like, oh, Glenn was right all along. I don't want to be right. This isn't about I wasn't
Right.
predicting the
Nobody wants to
future.
write about things like this. Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is we had to acknowledge what we were seeing and to pretend like we were seeing something that we weren't seeing because we like saying loop. And I get it. Who doesn't like saying a word that sounds like loop? It's a fun word to say. But to pretend like, well, maybe he'll be good when he hasn't been good was absurd. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's something that we don't want to talk about. And I get it. I
The
don't want
kickoff was
to.
poor. That kickoff was poor.
Yep.
That obviously the missed field goal happened. But you know, now that the season is over, I think that we just can. Yes, I know we're going to talk about today's game, and we should. But honestly, y'all, I mean, the Ravens put themselves in this hole. You go 1-5. That's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to them for fighting through it all. But I mean, at the end of the day, they dug themselves in such a hole that this is where they are. And I mean, I'm not happy about them losing. You know what I'm saying? You know, we talked about this on the podcast earlier, Glenn. Like, I'm not like rah-rah in that regard. I just don't think that this team is good enough. And to me, you saw that, particularly in the second half, where I thought that the defense had played well to a certain degree. And then, you know, Kyle Hamilton goes out, and then it just felt like everything started to fall apart. So for me, like, I guess I'm not upset like I probably would have been in years past, because like Buffalo was to me the lowest low that I've felt since the AFC Championship in Billy Cundiff. So there was no more lower I could get in that regard. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm glad that they put up a fight. That was fun to watch. But ultimately, you know, the Ravens did this to themselves. They shot themselves in the foot. And this is why they're going home. And the Steelers are going to be hosting a playoff game next week.
Tyus, I want to talk about the defense. Is it as bad as I think it is that a Steelers team that had no real vertical threat? Like, I know that Aaron Rodgers hit the two nice middle of the field downfield throws, right? Like that are probably more mid-range than they're actually deep shots, but 2026 Aaron Rodgers deep shots on the one, I guess, was it Thielen or Miller? I don't remember. It was Thielen, right? And then the one to Freiermuth in the fourth quarter. But they had no actual vertical threat. None. No vertical threat in this game whatsoever. Is it as damning as I think it is that this defense was dinked and dunked to death when a team had no actual vertical threat?
Yeah, I mean, if Metcalf is not on the field, Austin, who is their main target, is not on the field, and you allowing guys that just come in that's finally getting active for the year to come in and dominate like they did. I mean, absolutely. It shouldn't happen that way, especially when you got your best players out there. And I mean, I get it that it's Aaron Rodgers and he can make throws that a lot of NFL quarterbacks nowadays can't throw. And that's just my opinion. That's what I believe. And that's a kudos to having a quarterback like that where you can kind of put a lot of that burden off of the receivers just by being able to put that ball where it needs to be. And then as a pro, as a receiver, all you got to do is catch the ball, which is the simple part. But like you said, like it's no deep threats out there where you got to be concerned. But for it to happen that way and guys to be wide open, easy catches in the end zone, you can't have that. And that's pretty much the entire season of the Baltimore Ravens defense.
And look, we all know it was much worse once Kyle Hamilton was off the field, and it was going to be much worse once Kyle Hamilton was off the field. We know that, but that's where the utter lack of any pass rush really comes back to bite you, is because you now have nothing that can make up for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I get having Aaron Rodgers back there, but having pressure around him makes those throws a lot harder. And for you to not have pressure against Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I mean that's, that's hard, man. I mean, that just tells you everything about that, where you definitely got to go back to the drawing board and look for some actual pass rushes to get you some pressure, because that would have played a huge part in the game by just allowing him to make some tough throws that I'm sure those receivers that they have probably wouldn't been able to make. So, I mean, I feel like that is the difference.
All right, I'm going to get to some of the big picture stuff, but I want to talk smaller. I want to go micro and then get into macro after that. I'm going to start with just what happened tonight. I want to get everybody's thoughts on a weird night offensively where they were completely asleep for the better part of, 2+ quarters. And then Lamar Jackson looked like vintage Lamar Jackson and was making massive plays. Was it just, hey, he happened to make 2 plays? It wasn't like the offense really was better on the whole. What do we make of a really weird night where in the end, it looks like they were pretty good offensively, but I think we all know that watch this game for 4 quarters, they weren't very good. Ken, I'll start with you.
They got bullied in the trenches on both sides of the ball. So, the interception, they had the ball for 2 plays, 3 plays for, 10 to 12 minutes in the third quarter. So there was no chance to get any real rhythm going. There was 2 long drives from the Steelers. You get the deflection interception, and you really didn't have the ball that much. So I don't know. They really didn't stop the Steelers defensively though all night long. They even early in the game, like they stopped them on fourth down. There was 2 fourth down stops to end their drives, but they could have been 6 more points for the Steelers if they chose to take them. I don't know how weird it was because they didn't have the ball in the third quarter. Once Hamilton went out of the game changed, and we all know that. And the defense couldn't stop anybody, and they really they were able to limit the damage with him, but they didn't really stop them because there was no pass rush at all, and the defense isn't good enough, and you're old and you're slow like, instantaneously. Um, you know, your middle linebacker doesn't make plays anymore. Marlon doesn't make plays anymore. And can't. He looked awful tonight. I don't know what to make of it because at the end of the day, when they needed to put up the points when they got behind, they did it. And the guys that you wanted to make the plays made the plays.
Andrew?
We've been complaining about Zay. Zay had a great game, one of his best games as a Raven. Been complaining about likely made the biggest catch of the year for him. Um, you know, they don't the offensive line, they can run block, they can't pass block.
I'm
I
just
don't
going
know.
right across the board. Andrew, your
Yeah.
thoughts on the offense?
I agree with you that I felt like it was disjointed. It didn't feel like it ever got into a real rhythm. They ran the ball very well in the first half, obviously, and the statistics would show that. But especially in the second, granted, they didn't have the ball a lot in the third quarter, but they never really seemed to get into a flow where they wanted to take control of the game. And I still come down to that last drive and just how weirdly it was managed when you enter that drive with 3 timeouts and you don't run the ball at all and you don't utilize what has been your biggest tool throughout the game. It made no sense to me, and to me it all comes back to trying to control the game and grab the game by the scruff of the neck and go win the game rather than just being passive and being you know indecisive on how you want to play a certain situation. And I don't think they played it right down the stretch, and that's mostly what made it feel so disjointed to me. Yes, they made the plays like Ken's saying when was necessary to get them back in the lead multiple times, but that's also what's going to happen when you've got Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. He's going to make some special plays.
Tyus, what'd you make of the offense tonight?
I'm pretty much with Andrew. I think that with Lamar being back there, you're going to make the plays, but I definitely feel like things wasn't organized. It wasn't flowing well. And I was really just thinking while Andrew was talking was how many plays did Derrick Henry get in to where I actually seen him get the ball in the second half? And I can't really think of when. And he's a big part of that offense, especially in the beginning of the game where they was kind of moving down the field with him. And you'll think with 3 timeouts, having control of the clock and your own destiny, you'll try to facilitate him and try to get the ball there to where now you open up the pass game because now they got to respect the run. And that's pretty much how it's been the entire year, where when you create a run game for that team, that makes Lamar's job 30 times easier. Even though being the best player in the league, he's able to make things happen, but he doesn't have to force it. He doesn't have to put in so much effort to try to make a play when you're able to establish the run game. And like Andrew said, when you don't have that, everything is kind of out of flow. And I think that was a big key in the game where if they did that during the beginning of that drive at the end of the game, I think that would have definitely made things a lot easier for them.
Rita, I thought one of the things that was missing when the run was working in the first half was converting it into play action passes and trying to take shots to open things up. It felt more like, well, we're content to just sort of get the ball forward and do it. It just felt like that was missing to me in the first half.
I mean, that play action is missing often in this offense. That's nothing new, right? Like I complain about play action quite often. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't understand when I don't think I don't think I must not know football well. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. I just continue to say that. I don't see play action. I don't see plays where the ball is getting out. I'm with Andrew. You got 3 timeouts. The defense of the Steelers is going to assume that you're going to pass. So why not just use Derrick Henry there to, get some yardage there? And I just don't understand. I just don't get it. And too often, like the saying that was going around about, Huntley is, what the Ravens are, but Lamar is who they want to be. That reared its ugly head once again. And I just don't really get, like, who you are, right? You can't pass block, like Casey said. You know that your strength is in running the football. And so in that last drive, like, what is it that you're trying to do there? And obviously that 4th and 7 is, Lamar is just fantastic there. But I just don't really get what it is that y'all were, doing. And I'm trying not to make this about the offense here because we know that the defense just had a total collapse there, right? But I just feel like every week we're having the same conversation. Are we not tired of having the same exact conversation every single week? Every week we sit here and talk about, they don't run the football when we think that they should. Y'all know I've complained about them doing play action essentially all year long. So I don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. And so until they find somebody that can put into their identity, this is going to be who they are. And back to what you guys were saying, look, if the trenches ain't fixed, this team is just never going to be good. And that's the bottom line. They're never going to be good. If Eric DeCosta, if he's still the GM, doesn't fix it, this is going to be who they are. And that's unfortunate because you're wasting good Lamar years as a result.
Let me go through some of the macro stuff and we'll touch on kind of one-on-one. Project Gameday Postgame is brought to you by the Costas Inn. 2 locations for the Costas Inn. The OG on North Point Boulevard. The new one is in Timonium. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, just not steamed crabs. You got to go to North Point Boulevard for those. But everything else that you love about the menu, if you've never tried the crab jalapeno poppers, I highly recommend at the Costas Inn and the Costas Inn in Timonium. I want to go macro because I think everyone on this board, and I don't know if Tyus, you're here, so I guess I have to ask you this. Griffin put up the question that was asked of John Harbaugh because there are a lot of people that believe the Ravens won't fire John Harbaugh. If John Harbaugh is going to be gone, it's going to have to be on his volition. He's asked about that. He says he wants to be back. We'll see. Adam Schefter said this morning that they're going to have conversations, whatever that means about the future, but at least left it open that perhaps it hasn't been predetermined that John Harbaugh is definitely going to return next year. I think everybody else is of the opinion that it is time. Tyus, I know this is awkward because I know you still want to play football. Do you have any thoughts about this subject?
No comments.
Okay, I understand. I understand why that specifically is awkward for Tyus, and I'm not going to press him about it.
Hey, I need a job, man. Wherever it comes, I need it.
I understand why that one is unique. If John Harbaugh is back, let me just work under that preface because we're all in agreement that we believe that it's time for John Harbaugh. So I can't yell about it or debate about it. The rest of us have already said that. If John Harbaugh is back, is there a world to you where either one of these coordinators can be back, should be back? I'm going to preface it that way. I'll mix it up this time. I'll go the opposite way. Rita, you can start.
No.
There's that.
Want me to elaborate on it? Look, y'all, look. Zach Orr is a big part of why we here right now. You know, there was flashes of good defensive play, and to his defense, he doesn't have a good pass rush, right? He doesn't have a good pass rush.
He doesn't have a game-changing edge rusher.
He does not. He does not. I still don't like the play calls, though. That's my problem with that, is that at the end of the day, I still don't love how he has called the games throughout the season. And I think that him being, green as he's been, because he's not been a coordinator, this was a great learning experience to him, but he's also a hardball guy. I think y'all got to stop playing around. Zach was a nice guy. He probably is a great linebackers coach, but it's been too much inconsistencies. With Todd Monken, my issue with Todd Monken is to me, it feels like he wants to be this passing team, but you ain't got no offensive line that can block. So you're not utilizing the team that you have. And I have a problem with that. And in that regards, I think that you need to move on. But I don't know how, if John Harbaugh continues to be able to pick his own people, what changes?
Right. And I understand that.
And that's my concern, right? Like, if John Harbaugh gets to come back, and he's allowed to continue to make these moves, right? Because we know that Orr was his guy, whatever. Todd Monken, they talked about it over turkey for him to be the offensive coordinator. If you're not going to innovate and find somebody that's going to really do what they can with the players that they have and maximize their talents, then this is just us having the same conversation again this time next year. So that's why I think that if I'm Steve Bisciotti, you really do have to. Who is the problem here? Is Zach Orr the problem? Is Todd Monken the problem? Or is John Harbaugh the problem? So to answer your question, neither one of them should come back. But honestly, if Harbaugh is back, I wouldn't be letting him pick no damn body. I'm sorry.
Tyus, do you have a thought? Because I know it's been tough for you because Zach Orr is your guy. But that you've told us a couple times this season that, I think you said earlier in the year that you thought that it was probably the best idea to not have Zach be the defensive coordinator.
I mean, when you talk about things always being in-house and, always elevating guys, you kind of ask that question sometimes, like, is that always the best move? Like, should you actually, like, reach out and try to see who else is out there, even though when it does come to a certain defense that you like or a certain guy and their schemes and how they talk to you and all the ideas they have that you like, is it okay to actually move around and actually get out of the house and really see what else is out there? And I think that with Zach, I've always respected him, still respect him to this day. And for me, like, I've always enjoy his insight and the type of guy that he is when it comes to the playbook. But I think for me, I've always liked when he was a linebacker coach because he always had that group under control. Even with my time there as an outside linebacker, as a linebacker coach, I've been able to see, guys and them learning from Zach, especially when it's hands on, how much better those guys are and what he's able to do. So for me, like, I always want to see him thrive. But for me, I always seen him as a linebacker coach, and I would love him to continue to be there and then them try to find someone else outside of the house to see who can kind of lead that defense.
By the way, Andrew, I looked at your math. I think you're right. I saw 5 carries in the second half for Derrick Henry. I do think, as Ken pointed out, there's a lot of circumstantial in there as well, and the interception ends that drive. There's probably context that needs to be used.
Well, and they barely had the ball in the third
Right,
quarter, too.
right, correct.
Because of the long drive that the Steelers had.
But I'll go to you next. If John Harbaugh were to somehow be back, could either of these coordinators be back?
I mean, I'm where Rita is, no, but also you can't let him choose these guys. I think that if they're I may be in the minority here. I think if there was a chance for one of them to stay, I actually think it would be Orr over Munkin because I think the messaging at this point with the offense has just gotten overrun. It's stale to me. It doesn't look like and this we've seen this kind of thing happen over the years and it happens throughout the league, but at this point I just don't see this offense doing any of the things. And a lot of it is of course the offensive line issues, but you've got to be able to adapt. This league is built for offense and you've got to be able to have a good one in order to be good. And when you're not executing in the way that they are capable, then, change has to be made.
Ken?
I mean, the simple answer is no if I'm going to play the game the way you want it to be played. But no, neither one can come back because we've seen 2 years in a row where the defense starts off awful for 8 weeks and then they change some things or make a trade or bring in a defensive guru and help the new defensive coordinator in Zach Orr and things get better, but then we right back where we were to start the next year. And I just think it needs to change. I think it's finally time for an innovative um, play caller, to young, maybe play caller to unleash what we know the offense could be. But I'm gonna flip it around a little bit. Because if John Harbaugh is allowed to choose the assistants, which I don't know how you don't let the head coach choose the assistants.
Correct.
I mean, so it's sort of like a weird answer to answer because no, I don't want either of them back, but I also don't want John Harbaugh to be able to pick new people again because nothing has changed no matter who it's been. I mean, we still talk about some of the same problems, but I think the pressure is really on the general manager this offseason. I mean, you can change coaches and everything, but we said it before, and you brought it up. How many good football players do you have?
Yeah, I mean, true
I mean, I
respect for
mean, I
them.
mean, you need
Yep.
you need multiple starting caliber guys on both sides of the ball.
So, and I just to touch on a couple because they've already come up in the comments, and I'll get to these. By the way, Griffin, I don't know if you put this one on the screen. This is getting a little bit of play on Twitter, but a few people, including Bo, tweeted that Lamar was asked whether he would like to see John Harbaugh next season. Says he's not even thinking about that, simply stunned about the loss, and Twitter is running with that as if that's Lamar's way of saying no. I just knowing what we know about Lamar, I don't think he's saying anything other than what he's saying. Like he might feel that way, but I don't think that answer is telling you that. I think Lamar is telling you exactly what he's thinking, which is I'm not there. I'm just dude, you just lost a game that you felt like you absolutely should have won. And I'm processing these other things the way that we are. I don't think that's what that is.
I also just watched the video of it. If you
Yeah.
get the context of the actual answer, like you can tell he's reacting in the exact same way you just said.
Yes.
Like I'm stunned. I've just come off the field. I'm not thinking about that stuff.
Yes. Everything about
It's
Lamar
not a slight
Jackson
thing.
says to me that's what that is, and not
And I would say too, like that kind of goes in the flow of like Shadur Sanders when they ask him questions like that, when they know that in the heat of the moment something bad could happen when the wrong answer is brought up. And it's like you can't do that, And that needs to be recognized where you can't be asking guys certain questions like that, knowing they just lost the game or whatever it is, and you're trying to cause drama. And Lamar is not that type of dude. So like why even try to ask that type of question after they just lost a game off of a missed field goal? Like, don't do that. That's like mad disrespectful.
Griffin. You want to try to play it? That's what you're.
That's you asking me about next year, Jameson. Like, I'm so caught up in what just happened tonight. I can't focus on that right now. I just told you, like he asked me, "Are you stunned?" I'm stunned right now. I'm still trying to process what's going on. Like, I know we lost, but like, you know, that's
All right, thank you, Lamar.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I would. That's exactly what I had thought. 100%. That's Lamar. And I think that's to Tyus's point. I think that's a lot of competitive. That's an athlete. Like you just went through that. That it's not just that you lost. Your season came to an end like that, like that, and that's where I am. I'm just not processing anything else, man. Like I have no thoughts about any of these other things. So yeah, there's nothing more to that to me there. Again, which doesn't mean that maybe in 2 days Lamar Jackson might have the opinion that he'd rather have a different head coach. I have no idea. But that and trying to run with it the way that we do anything on Twitter, it's not there. It's just not there. That's a miss. I don't know how plausible it is. Marlon Humphrey, it's not good. There's no getting around how not good it is. And um, I've been awfully defensive of Marlon over the years. I know people get annoyed by the Twitter stuff. I think y'all are losers that obsess over that sort of stuff. Marlon Humphrey's been a Ring of Honor Baltimore Raven, and I think you guys are losers. I really do. That like obsess over whether a guy tweets the way that you want him to or does videos after a game. I think it's the dumbest of dumb commentary. But I can't shake it. Marlon Humphrey has not been good this year. It's certainly not good enough. I would argue not good mostly at all. I mean, he's had some plays that's been mixed in, and even tonight, mixed in a play in coverage, but has been a liability. Tyus, I'm going to start with you. Do you still see Marlon being capable of playing at a high level moving forward?
I think so. What you laughing for, Rita? Oh, okay.
My friend, I'm laughing at my friend. My friend is here, so yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay. I got you. I
so
got you.
she's like, "What's going on?"
What's going
So
on?
I was laughing at her. I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead.
You good. But no, I feel like Marlon can. I still think that he's capable of playing at a high level. And we've seen, strides throughout the year of him making plays and doing good things. I think it's just more honing back to his technique and just putting the right plays and the right positions around him to be the best player that he can be. And I mean, I simply think that's it. I mean, he's had his times, just like everybody else in the league, where they've struggled, they've had tough games, and honestly, that's like the hardest position in the NFL. I don't care what nobody say, quarterback can be or whatever else, but going out there on the island by yourself against somebody who can stop on the dime, who can run right past you, and you having to react, you're not the one doing the moves. You're the one that has to react off of a player, and people don't understand that. So for me, I feel like there's not too many players like him in this league that's still able to make plays, especially at his age and what he's been able to do to go out there and play at a high level. And like I said, all it takes is just getting back to the drawing board, honing in on his technique and his skills, and really just putting good places and putting him in a good position to go out there and be the best player he can be.
The reality on Marlon's contract, he has a $26 million cap hit and a $19 million dead cap figure. You could say there's $7 million worth of flexibility in there, but that's with a really heavy dead cap number that would just be counting against you for the sake of it. I'll open it up to anybody else thoughts on Marlon.
I with all due respect, I mean, he's never getting back to what he was, and I don't know unless he's changing to a free safety type position. I don't want to see him play corner for the Baltimore Ravens anymore. That's just me. I don't. I People are saying, well, we make it. I've heard people say, well, you can put him in the slot. I'm like, well, those are the quick guys, usually in
Well, to
the
be
slot.
fair, he had been playing his best football in the slot. Like that's when he was
That's
playing his best. Was in the
Yeah. I don't. I mean, they need another starting corner. You don't get better at his age miraculously and become what you were. I don't. Can he be a useful player? Sure. Can he be that impact player again? No, he's going to make plays every once in a while because he's that level of football player. He's a Ring of Honor football player, but you're not turning back the clocks and all of a sudden he's going to be a shutdown corner again. I the way the makeup of the team is, it's probably not in the cards for him to play safety for them, but I think that would be a nice transition for him to become a playmaker
Yes,
again.
to your point, they don't really need safeties right now. That's the one thing that they kind of have a lot of. And what do they do about kicker? That's kind of the $1 million. I mean, obviously the other questions are bigger. Like they're much bigger questions. Like what happens with the head coach and the court. Those are much bigger questions. But we've been talking about kicker all year. And the one thing I've said the entire time is you're not cutting the guy because it's not like there's good options that are out there. Like you're just hoping for the best and you're hoping that it works out. But in the offseason, I don't I just don't know how you get to the end of the year and you go into next year and say we think we have a kicker. And I don't know where I am between abandoning it altogether, bringing in a veteran to compete. I don't know exactly where I am with that. I don't know what the answer is, but to me, the answer isn't just pretend like, just gaslight me and tell me that I'm wrong and that Tyler Loop is definitely an NFL kicker when none of us know. So what do they do about kicker this offseason?
Open tryouts.
Just assume that you don't have one on your roster and just leave no stone unturned,
I
Tyus?
mean, you got to. I mean, he hasn't shown you anything the entire year that proves that he needs to be there next year. So what do? You got all these kickers in college. You got guys who you see online that's out here kicking 65 yarders. It's like give those dudes a chance because they showed themselves before. And just like how everybody else misses field goals and go through these times and these stages, shoot, everybody at this point, it's like, what are you losing? Honestly, what are you losing? Because the dude just missed a 30-yarder to take you into the playoffs.
Well,
That's he's been kicking.
and Tyus, it's funny because this is before you were here, but everybody remembers the last time the Ravens were in the spot was after Billy Cundiff missed a kick in the AFC Championship game in 2011. But he actually had been a good kicker. Like he actually had built up. There was real question as to whether or not that was a fireable offense because he had kicked well. I I don't know what the plus is. I don't know what it is that you would
Exactly.
say like that's
I
my
mean, at that
God.
point, like you said, if there's no pluses, then you need to find somebody who can give you pluses. So, like I said, open tryout, start bringing in some guys, make him prove himself, and if he deserves a job, he deserves it. But it shouldn't be no second thought of bringing in guys to come in and compete for a job.
I
Simple
guess
as
I'd
that.
phrase it this way. Would you be planning on bringing in competition or bringing in a definitive, you would prioritize, I need an answer, not a competition?
I would probably say competition
Okay.
in my eyes. I would
Okay.
probably just say competition. Like bringing somebody to come and challenge him to put pressure on him because that's what it is. When he get in these stages of like pressure moments and those moments where we don't know and there's still questions on if he can make this kick from this distance during this time or whatever, you need to have people out there to challenge him and be like, okay, are you capable of doing this? If not, then that lets me know exactly where I stand. So I
Yeah,
say competition.
I'm
I want
still,
I
and I
want
brought it
to
up.
I want to vote for Tyus for president. I love you. You know you would get my vote. You need to quit getting an answer. I mean, I've been on this kid's side all year. I really I really have it. I want him to be good, but where's the confidence going to come from? In the next critical kick, like I, he's going to be a good. I actually feel at some point he'll be a good kicker in the league, but he's not now. And you're a championship or bust caliber organization. You've got to fix it. You've got to find the answer. And I don't know where that answer comes from. If it's another young guy, if it's a retread, but there have been guys that are the Rams and even Cleveland found guys off the street this year that came in and made critical kicks for them during the season. The Cleveland guy, I know they had nothing to play for, but he made one today. I think there are guys there. I think you have to throw the net And maybe he is part of the competition, but I think you got to find an answer, because if he wins the competition, I still don't have any confidence in him.
Yeah, it's a weird spot, Ken, because like I have sort of before this all along I've said I think your plan in the offseason needs to bring in competition for Tyler Loop, but I don't know at this point that my answer isn't you need to go find a kicker. And don't worry, you're solving for Tyler Loop is solving for the wrong part of the equation. That whatever happens with Tyler Loop, God bless him. And to your point, I've kind of thought for some time he might be somebody who it just clicks for him on another team. But I don't know that my priority can be we got to solve Tyler Loop. At the least, to me, it's bringing in competition. I still can't believe that they cut off the competition they had going on in training camp when they did. Like in hindsight, it's one of the craziest things that happened this year that nobody talked about. Is in the middle of training camp, they just gave up on a competition and decided this guy was so definitively the guy. And it felt, and I tried poking around on it, it felt like they were worried that the competition was getting to him, and they wanted to build his confidence by anointing him the kicker. And here's where we're at the end of the year because of it. I have no concern about what this means for Tyler Loop. I think the Ravens need to get a kicker.
Billy Cundiff had a wonderful career after he left the Ravens as well. And the same could very well be true for Tyler Loop, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work out. And it's not just the field goals. You've been talking about it all season. And again, not to fluff your pillow
Well, and the
too much
shame
here,
of it is it was getting better in the kickoff game. The
Right,
kickoffs had been getting better for a couple of weeks.
But at the key
right up
moment,
until
what
that
happens?
moment.
You know, at the key moment, what exactly goes down there? And you can't. And another thing you said all along, if you're not going to have long distance field goals, if you're not going to have the 55 yarders in your bag, you better at least do the other stuff right. And he's not doing the other stuff right. He's doing too many of the boxes are not getting checked off with Tyler Loop.
Hate this. I hate this. I hate that this is I wish I could be that. I told you so. I wish I could be that guy. God, I wish I could be that guy.
It's almost like Tyler Loop can play center field, but he doesn't hit for average. It's
right.
It's that whole conversation.
It really feels like that, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Andrew? It really feels like that. Hey, Live Casino and Hotel is the best place to watch all the big games. The Olympics are coming up. It's a great place to watch. All the Olympic action is inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel, the giant media screen, as well as, of course, great food and drink specials inside Sports and Social. Let's just go.
The problem is Tyler Loop hasn't hit a 450-foot home run yet. That we haven't seen where it
Griffin
lands.
gets really offended by the comparison to Colton Cowser because Griffin is very much in the it's fun to say.
Because Colton Cowser is a proven
professional
player.
He had a hell of a 6 weeks. He had an amazing.
He's a proven professional player.
He's proven for 2 years he can't hit.
Yeah, look, man. Everybody's
Tyler Loop hasn't done a single thing.
I hope that they both.
He's not done a single thing. He's lost them multiple games. The Bills.
You know
game
what, Griffin? To be fair, Colton Cowser has not done a single thing in the NFL either. So
that's a good point. That's a very good point, Andrew. Thank you for that. I appreciate you providing that. Ken, you're supposed to fire somebody. I feel like I would actually be okay if you just said fire them all. Like if you just said everybody but Lamar. Like
everyone.
Yeah, I'm not in the fiery mood. I mean, it feels like Polygon to say Loop. It feels like Polygon to say Marlin. I was during the game, if they lost it, I even said to somebody online, I was like, Marlin, I'm firing Marlin. I can't do it. It's not worth it. I want the coaching staff gone. You all know that. I think it needs a fresh coat of paint. Like, you need to rip the siding off, and you need to decide, are we going to put siding on, or are we going to brick the house? It's not, I don't have it in me for one guy because it was so many things. Loop seems like such a nice kid. I don't want to pile on. I'm sure he was engulfed post game at some point.
I want to cover this because I do want to make it clear. I think it's two things. I really do appreciate that someone does talk. I know I remember this post the AFC Championship game, and those that praise. I appreciate the fact that Tyler Loop stood and answered questions. And I've said this like about Mark Andrews last year. I'm the wrong guy. When other people are weirdos about it, I'm not weirdos about it. I understand that mental health is real, and I, it isn't a contractual obligation. We want it to be, but it's not a contractual obligation. I appreciate that Tyler Loop answered questions and was accountable and said what he said. I appreciate that. I think that's a good thing. It does not do anything to reflect my opinion about Tyler Loop or what he can be as a kicker. It's one of those like you got to be able to have two thoughts here. I am very capable of saying I appreciate the Tyler Loop answered questions and uh, obviously to say he was accountable, was he going to say it wasn't me? I mean, there's kind of no like there's no other option there. You can't say like so you can go up there and be like, "Hey, did you guys watch the defense in the second half?" Like, I don't know if you saw it. Like, which to be fair, he wouldn't be wrong about that either.
I would have respected that answer, but he can't do that.
I appreciate that, but that's where that ends. Like it's thank you for doing that. It does not change my opinion whatsoever about Tyler Loop or where the Ravens are with Tyler Loop. It's just an unmitigated disaster. And unmitigated disaster to me, I can't escape it. Like if he makes that kick, spare me well, they were just going to lose the Texans anyway. Maybe, or maybe none of these teams are going to beat them because they're all mid. Every single one of them is mid in the AFC. There's about a bunch of mid football out there, and
We saw it right on display tonight.
yeah,
There was a lot of mid football.
a lot of mid football. And that to me is the infuriating part about this is it was all right there for you this season. It was all right there for you. And just a historic fumbling of the situation that was handed. And that to me is why I think it's time. We'll see how the next few days pan out. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I've enjoyed this all season long. Yeah, Isaiah Likely obviously is a pending free agent. Mark Andrews got a contract. It seems unlikely, no pun intended, that there will be money for both of them, but the Ravens do have some money, and
Harbaugh rallies these guys back together, says, "Let's run it back."
Yeah,
and,
yeah, win one for the
puts
Gipper.
on an epic speed. We run back the exact same team. How are we all going to feel?
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to be the case. Tyus, really appreciate having you with us this year. Man, that was awesome. I mean, I wish you wouldn't have been available. And I hope you're not available to do it again next year. I hope when we're running it back, you're not running it back with us.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at it, especially coming from 2025, like these are little moments that I know for sure that I wouldn't be able to do while I was playing. So just being able to take part of this and it'd be a great memory, a great experience for me. I'm definitely thankful. So I really appreciate the opportunity, being around you guys, Andrew Griffin, KZ, Rita, of course you, Glenn, just doing this. And, we've always done the radio thing and it's been a growing interest and a love of mine. So just being able to be a part of this, I'm very appreciative. So thank you for it.
Well, we love you, bro, and you know that we'll continue to be in touch and hopefully rooting for you next season wherever you are, as long as it's not the effing Steelers. And don't forget that. I know you'll take that money in a heartbeat, but just understand, I love you. Like I love you like a brother. I will not be loving that. That will not be okay.
Hey man, I'm with you, dog. I'm with you.
I appreciate you, bro.
They've got enough former Ravens. Jeez.
Yeah, right. That is
A
true.
lot of
They
them.
got
A
a
lot
thing
of them.
for it. They got a thing for it. All right. 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org. Again, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, give them a call or a text or visit that website for free confidential services. We will move into off-season mode on Glenn Clark Radio as things warrant. We'll hop on if there's news. In the next couple of weeks, we'll try to maybe get together and do a chat. Whoever can get on here, maybe jump on and talk about that news as it happens. Appreciate you hanging out with us all season long. This has been PressBox's Project Game Day.